Today we're going to put some shielding tape on the back of this pick guard that we made, and we're going to open up the Flying V, see if it's shielded inside of it. If not, we're going to go ahead and do that. This is not a sponsored video. Anything we use in this video is our stuff. It's just what we do. So the first thing I do before I take the guitar apart, I like to take my dial caliper, put it on my low E string, drop it down to the pick guard. Write down that measurement. Do the same thing on the high E. Write down that measurement. Then when I put my guitar back together, I know about where to go to, where to set that before I dial it all the way back in. I'll be super close. Takes a lot of time and effort out of it. If you don't have a dial caliper, you can use a tape measure. You can go to the 12th fret, use some feeler gauges just to get you back close so you can dial it all back in once you put it back together. So I'm going to pull these strings off and open this baby up and see what we got. So the dial caliper I used before I took the strings off to find out where they was setting. I picked this up on Amazon. Stu Mac has them. They're not expensive. If you're going to tinker with guitars, they're a great tool to have. Pulled the screws out. They were pretty messed up, really, from whoever's had this before has been in it, and they put a invader in it. One of the reasons I'm changing stuff out. I did find the proper pickup for this, and I will put it in this pick guard later. That way, if I want to go back to the original stuff, all I gotta do is pop the pick guard in. That's one good thing about these Flying V's. It's all one piece. I took all my little screws, threw them in this cup so I don't lose them. It's a #1 Phillips bit. Always try to use the right size bit. I don't use screw guns on them things. You'll strip them in a second. They're not made of the best metal. So once you have the screws out, go ahead and lift off my bridge, unscrew the studs. Remember, we gauged that, so we're going to go back to just as close as possible to where it was at when we put it all back together. Let's take a peek inside, see what we got. Well, there you go. It is shielded, but not very good. See all these spots they missed? Not very good job. Pretty lame, really. No worries. We'll take care of that. Moving on to shielding the pick guard. So I just take my shielding tape. I got this at Stu Mac. Again, this is not a sponsored video. That's just where I get my stuff. Stu Mac, Amazon, the hardware store. You can get this stuff everywhere. I go ahead and pre-cut pieces that are going to be long enough. I'm going to trim them around the edge later. I have them pre-cut. Nothing to it. Just pull the sticky tape off the back and stick it down. That's all there is to it. I hold it back from the edge just a touch, just a tad. That way you don't have to trim it back later on. Now the next piece, I'll just overlap the old one just a little bit, about an 1/8 inch or so. It's not the funnest stuff to work with. It is very sticky. Overlap it, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, whatever. The stuff's not expensive and it does a really good job. Now I could just do the control cavity area, but I do the whole pick guard. It blows my mind when I buy a guitar and I open it up and they put one little tiny piece on, and you go through, do the whole thing, trim up the edge. Got the whole back shielded with shielding tape. I used my razor knife to cut out the openings and the holes. Used a little Allen head bit, poked the holes out for the screws out of my Music Nomad kit. We're ready to move forward and start shielding in the control cavity. I don't know if Gibson did it or the last owner did it. Put a little bit of shielding paint just in some random places. I don't know. But, you know, this is a 97. Back in 97, this is one of the higher end guitars. You know, I mean, you would think these companies, for the price they charge, they would actually shield it correctly. First thing I do is take my shielding tape and I'll cut it right down the middle. This is like the 2-inch stuff, and I'll take and I'll run it right on the edge. I'll come up over the top just a little bit so that when I put my pick guard down on it, it touches it. I take and I bend it right up the edge. I just run right along the inside. You don't have to do this. I do it because then it connects to that pick guard. All right, so I took that shielding tape right around the edge. I just brought it up over the edge, 1/16, 1/8, bring her down tight on the side. I set that pick guard down on there. It'll touch and definitely help. Also, I added an extra ground wire, pulled this stud out, drilled a hole down through there, ran me a ground wire, and see it setting right there. I smashed that back down on top of it, and when I put that pick guard on with the shielding tape on the back of it, bam, little extra ground along with the one that's on the stop tail. I do that because I can't see the one that's on the stop tail where it's connected. I'm assuming it's connected, but I can't see it. So I add that extra one just in case. So what I use on the conductive shielding paint, I got this one at Stu Mac. I've got a couple other ones, but you're only going to buy it once. I mean, this lasts for who knows how long. You can get them at Amazon, and there's a lot of debates out there on what type's the best. I've used all kinds of them over the years. They all work. I don't know why there's such a debate on which one's the best, but my experience has been they all work. Get a little on your paint, just wipe it off. Just like that. Look at that. Go through and hit everything. Don't leave any little spots out. It's just a regular little painter's brush. Picked up at the hardware store. There's also ongoing debates whether shielding helps or not. Well, it's not a perfect world for sure. People talk about Faraday cages. Well, there's no way you're going to make a guitar Faraday cage, but the shielding definitely helps. A lot of people say you don't have to shield if you have humbucker. Well, I've played at the same place every couple weeks. I had unpotted humbucker. Well, I was picking up all kinds of interference. There was a truck stop or something on the other side of the parking lot. I'm not sure what it was, but so I took and I shielded the guitar really good. It pretty much stopped it. Shielding does matter. And it's something, you know, on the upper tier guitars and stuff, you know, and a lot of the custom made guitars, custom builders, they do a real good job shielding and everything. But the production guitars, the ones that's out there, they're just popping them out left and right. They're not shielding stuff. They're only half shielding stuff. I mean, you never know what you're going to find when you pop a Pickguard off. That's the difference in the higher tier guitars and the lower tier guitars. But you can do it yourself. It's easy. Nothing to it. It's cheap to do. Now, you don't have to wait 24 hours in between coats. If you want to, fine. You can just take a blow dryer, put it on hot, dry it up, put on another good coat. I usually put 2 coats. So that's all there is to it. 2 coats in there. I hit it with the blow dryer to get it dry quick so I can continue to get my electronics back in. I'm going to be using this V on some original recordings coming up real quick here. I love the way it feels, the way it plays, but I didn't like the sound. And I'm putting in a little different pickups in it and different control configuration. There's the Pickguard. When that sets down on there, it'll touch that. It'll touch that other extra ground I put in there. Hope you guys find this video helpful if you're planning on shielding your guitar. Have any questions, leave them in the comments. We'll get back to you. Have a great day, great week. I'm Paul Hopley, and remember, play your guitars, mod your guitars, and make them your own.